my camera, but otherwise I'm good.
All right. We'll just wait. Al will give us the official, you're on.
Okay, you're on.
Thank you. Good afternoon and welcome to the second chapter in our first department-wide education series called Together We Can. My name is Sarah Teeters. I am the Manager of Advocacy and Outreach Division here at Louisville Metro Government's Office of Resilience and Community Services, or RCS for short. If you're just learning of RCS, we provide essential services for Louisville residents, especially our low and moderate income populations. Just a few of those services include homeless outreach, delivering meals to homebound seniors, helping families build financial stability and security, operating LIHEAP for residents to stay safe and warm in the winter, and supporting our 8 neighborhood place locations. The series Together We Can was born from a desire to continue to give the community a face and a name to turn to when you need that extra bit of support. During COVID, we haven't been able to get out and about as much as we like to, so we like to be able to bring all of these services to you and make sure you know who you're talking to when you call. Part 2 of our education series is focused on how to navigate the many programs and opportunities around things such as eviction prevention, rental assistance, housing, all of those things that RCS provides. We have with us today Erynn Moss and Travis White. Erynn is actually going to start us off today. Erynn is the Administrative Coordinator for Neighborhood Place, which is a network of 8 one-stop shop locations for family support services here in Louisville. Each Neighborhood Place location has a collaborative mix of agencies that provide assistance such as LIHEAP, child care assistance, food stamps or SNAP, child protection, workforce development, and more. Since last year, Erynn has been very, very busy. She has worked closely with the pandemic relief programs, including CDBG, CARES Eviction Prevention, Utility Assistance, and since February of this year, the Emergency Rental Assistance Programs funded by the U.S. Treasury. Erynn is very smart. She has a bachelor's degree from Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University and a master's degree from the University of Colorado, focusing on operations and technology management. And a fun fact, Erynn moved to Louisville in 2014 from Colorado and has an adorable 4-year-old son who, my favorite fact is when you ask him, he will tell you he is an owl. So thank you so much for being with us today, Erynn. I am going to turn it over to you.
Great, thank you. Like you said, for the last year, we've just been really busy at Neighborhood Place, responding to the economic fallout and trying to stop the wave of evictions from happening. Many people know that there was a moratorium from the CDC on evictions. If you were at risk, you could fill out a form to prevent your landlord from having you evicted, but that doesn't mean they weren't still happening. And we've been working very closely with a lot of landlords since July of last year, trying to prevent some of that. With the CARES program that we ran in 2020, we dispersed over $10 million to Louisville renters for their housing needs. And then this year, we've actually amazingly done over $32 million in rent assistance in Louisville. But the program's still ongoing, and I'm going to share my screen for a moment just to kind of give people a little bit of information on how they would go about applying for eviction prevention and where you can get more details. Can you see my Google screen?
Yes.
Right, okay. So the easiest thing you can do is just Google Neighborhood Place, but if you want a web address, I also tell people they can go to louisvilleky.gov/neighborhood place. And our real address is a little bit longer, but that's easy to remember. So louisvilleky.gov/neighborhood place, and it will redirect you. There's the full address up there. And from our main webpage, this is where you can get information all about, as Sarah mentioned, there's a lot of services that we do at Neighborhood Place. It's not just the COVID assistance, the rent eviction prevention, and you can From our main page, you can find out more about Neighborhood Place, what partnerships we have, and where the Neighborhood Place location is closest to you. We've got a handy map here, and each Neighborhood Place has a different set of services that they offer. So on the left menu is the name of all of our neighborhood places, and you can click on each one to find out more information about what they have at that location, including where their hours are and the phone number to call. If you're looking for any of these services, we always recommend you call ahead. We have reopened to the public. However, we want to make sure that you're able to get what you're looking for. And so some services may be on an appointment only basis. We just recommend you call ahead first. And then if I go back to our menu over on the left, COVID assistance, that's where most people are looking these days. This is where you're going to find information about the emergency rent assistance and the LG&E assistance that we have. From this page, if you scroll down, so our emergency rent assistance program, right now, we do not have appointments available. However, what we've been doing with those is releasing them in waves. Every 2 or 3 weeks, we release another wave of appointments. And that way, people know that if there's not anything currently available, they can check back. Our next check back date is January 3rd. I know it's a while out, but we've got appointments booked all the way to the end of December. So you can let your landlords know if you're waiting for an appointment that you've scheduled, or you've either scheduled one with us or you're waiting to schedule an appointment. Most of them they understand the process by this point and they're willing to work with us. With this program, we can pay rental arrears up to 12 months and we can pay up to 3 months future rent, depending on the situation. I know some people will say, well, why couldn't I get 3 months future rent? You have to have your landlord's participation with this program. And if you see here, we have our forms that are required for this. So once you have an appointment, you can also print your forms from our website. One of those is the landlord tenant agreement form that you will fill out and your landlord will fill out. That has all the information about what you currently owe and your rental situation. We'll take that along with all the standard documents that we usually take for financial assistance. If you've never applied for any financial assistance with Neighborhood Place before, we do require identification. We have to have photo IDs for adults. We have to have social security numbers for all the family members in the household. If you don't have one of those things, you can just work with us, tell us what's going on. In some cases, we can take an alternative, but you just need to let us know. A little bit more is needed for the eviction prevention program. We have to have your lease with either a current lease that's signed by you and your landlord. If you don't have a current lease, we have a form that you can fill out that just outlines what your rental agreement is. If you owe past due rent, we need a copy of that. We need the past due notice or your tenant ledger. And then in some cases, we have to require additional documentation. We're able to take a lot of things from the applicants for this program. There is an income limitation. You can't make more than 80% of the area median income. And we have that information on our forms as well. What that would be, it depends on the size of your household. In some instances, we may need to have documentation for income. It just depends on a case-to-case basis. Once you've got your appointment and you've got your documents completed, your landlord-tenant agreement, your application and everything, you can either bring them to the Neighborhood Place on the time of your appointment, or you can submit your application online And it's on the same page right here. There's this pink button to begin that process. It'll be a secure portal where you can attach your sensitive information. You need to have it all ready to attach. And then after we've had a chance to review it, we'll reach out to your landlord and we'll verify all the information that we need. We'll let people know if there's something else that we're still looking for. We'll be in communication. And then we'll update you as soon as we're able to make a payment. We'll send that information out to landlords as well. We have a very similar process for LG&E assistance. I'm going to scroll down a little bit more. So right now we have funding through the American Rescue Plan for LG&E. We can pay, it's a one-time assistance up to $1,000 per household. And it's the same process. You sign up for an appointment with us. We do have a lot of appointments open for LG&E, and you can get in fairly soon. Most people are able to get in within the week. And then you would need to fill out the application form for that as well. And again, you can do the same thing. You can attach your documents to submit them online, or if you don't have that access, you can bring your documents to the neighborhood place where you scheduled your appointment. And then they'll get back to you as soon as we're able to make a payment on your LG&E bill. If people are looking for assistance with their water bill, the American Rescue Funds are also available for water assistance. However, Louisville Water will be taking care of that through their Drops of Kindness program. We have a link on our website. You can click there, and that will allow you to apply for assistance with water. And then we continue to offer the LIHEAP assistance for low-income families needing help with their energy bills. And you can schedule an appointment by clicking the link on our website as well. It'll take you to the LIHEAP schedule. All right. So do you have any questions about the program specifically?
Hey, Erynn, we do not have any questions just yet, but if you don't mind hanging around for a few minutes for Travis to be done, and then we'll, if any questions come through, we'll ask them at the same time and be able to let you all see who's most appropriate in answering them at that point. Is that okay?
Sounds great.
All right. Well, Erynn, thank you so much. I appreciate all the knowledge and for you being able to walk people through that today. So I know that sometimes those websites are not only hard to find, but a little bit tricky. So I really appreciate you walking us through that today. I'd like to now introduce Travis White. Travis has been a social service manager with Metro's Resilience and Community Services for 3 years now. Programs under his supervision serve households experiencing homelessness and poverty. His focus is helping clients become hardship resistant by offering opportunities to build education, employment, and income management skills and resources. So Travis, thank you so much for being a part of today's panel, and tell us more about the programs you're working with.
Okay, well, thank you for the invitation. And for today, I'm actually just going to focus on one particular program because it's the one that we have that is available to a large segment of the public. It is called NP Cares, it's short for Neighborhood Place Cares. And the CARES, of course, referring to the Federal CARES Act, which is where the funding for this initially came from. So before I say too much about what this program actually does, I just want to explain a little bit what the purpose is behind this particular program. Just in the last 15 years, our country has experienced 2 major periods of widespread job losses and economic hardship. There was the Great Recession that began in 2007, 2008. And then, of course, we're still currently going through the pandemic and are all very aware of that beginning in 2020 and how that has affected our community. So both times, and in 2008, 2020, and historically, every time that there is a major national shock to the economy, the people who suffered the most in those were those who had the least education, the lowest paying jobs, and the least financial security before those economic problems even began. So NP Cares is a program that says you may be going through this hardship now, but there are steps that you can take to make it far less likely that you are one of those people who is hit the hardest when the next economic shakeup comes. So we're really looking toward the future and thinking about how can we take steps to prevent our clients from being among those who are impacted the most in a negative way. So our goal is to help people become more recession-proof, which we do by paying our participants to increase their education level, increase their employment and wages, and to increase their personal financial skills and know-how. And I know, and I hope that that captured people's imagination and attention when I said that we will pay you to do those things. Of course, there is a caveat. But like Erynn, I'm going to share my screen in order to just show some different things that we have here. I'm not as technologically sophisticated as she is, but you can see here one of two flyers that we have for the NP Cares program. I'm going to scroll down just a little bit so you can see more of the information on here. So an important question, of course, is who is actually eligible for this particular program? In order to participate, you do have to be a Jefferson County resident. You have to have a household pre-tax income that is below 200% of poverty. I'm going to go down to my third page here and show you what that looks like, and I'll leave it here for just a minute so that you can find that information. But like Erynn had said, it depends on how many people are in the household. If there's one person, for example, your pre-tax income cannot be greater than $2,146 per month. And likewise for 2, 3, 4, and on through 8. If you happen to live in a household that has more than 8 individuals, you may contact us and we will be able to tell you what that maximum number would actually be. So you have to be a Jefferson County resident. Your income cannot be greater than what is indicated on this page. And then another criteria is that you have to fit one of two scenarios with respect to your income. And we're looking all the way back to January 2020, so nearly 2 years ago. And in order to be eligible, you either have to have had earned income at any point for any length of time since January 2020, or you must be a household who has had fixed income since January 2020, meaning from January 2020 all the way through to the present day. So it is limited to people who fit one of those two scenarios. And then finally, having a desire to work with a coach or a case manager for up to 6 months is a prerequisite for this program. In some cases, we may work with people for as little as 1 to 2 months, but 6 months is the maximum length of time to be a participant in NP Cares. So I want to go back up to this initial flyer and just show you, actually, let me go to this one, I apologize. This has a bit more information. I'll see if I can make it larger for people who might want to look at it. So I want to explain how this particular program actually works, because we are talking about receiving coaching. We are talking about taking classes and developing some skills. So the first thing, of course, is maybe just taking a look at the eligibility guidelines. If you think you may fit those criteria and you're interested in this program, then you can call one of the numbers that is on one of these two flyers. These are available at Neighborhood Place. They're available on our Resilience and Community Services Facebook page, as well as with some of our partner agencies throughout the community. So there's two numbers at the bottom of this particular flyer, one for Vonnie Beeson, who is our program specialist and coordinates intake or screening for most of this program. And then there's also a phone number there for Monty, who is the program supervisor. The other flyer has this number, which is also the number for Vonnie Beeson on it. So you may call either of those numbers in order to be screened, which just means that they'll ask about 5 or 6 questions to determine if you are eligible for this program. After we go through that screening process, if it looks like you may be eligible, Vonnie or Monty is then going to help you make an appointment with one of our coaches. And the initial appointment is just all about gathering the proper documentation. A lot of it is very similar to what Erynn described for the rental assistance and eviction prevention programs. We will need to see some form of photo identification, proof of household composition, will need to see proof of either that work history that I described since January 2020 or having had fixed income throughout that time, as well as some other documentation that the coach or intake worker will describe to you and help you fill that out. So once you've done the intake and we've determined that you're eligible to participate in this particular program, this is really about, again, people who have a desire to sharpen their skills, to earn certifications, to learn how to better manage their income so that when there is a future recession or economic downturn, whether that's national, local, or just personal, that they're more prepared for it. So each participant will choose an area to focus on. We have 3 to choose from. One is employment. Another is education, which refers to either earning a GED or to going through job training and earning an industry recognized certification. And then finally, we have the income management track for people who are maybe not necessarily needing to grow their income as much as just learn some tips and tricks to better handle their finances so that they are prepared for those things that happen to everybody. So once you've chosen an area to focus on, the coach will help you develop a goal plan, which just simply means a plan to say, this is where I am right now. I'm thinking about where I would like to be in the future, whether that's a higher paying job or earning my GED or job certification, and thinking about, here's where I am. I know where I'd like to be. What is it going to take? And who am I really going to need to work with to get to that point? So they'll not only help you identify a step-by-step plan, but they'll help you know who are those partner organizations that have some really great programs that we work with. Some of those partners include Catholic Charities, Goodwill Industries, Kentuckiana Works, Louisville Urban League, and a number of schools that offer job training, including some of these organizations I've already mentioned, Kentucky School of Phlebotomy, and many others. So once you have a plan, basically this whole idea of we will pay you is oriented around you then executing that plan. You may have a 3-step plan, you might have a 5 or 6-step plan, whatever that is. Incrementally, we will reward you for pursuing that up to a maximum of $3,000. Now, here's the caveat that I did say that does apply to that $3,000. We unfortunately cannot make direct cash payments to our participants. What we can do is pay some of your significant bills on your behalf, particularly rent bills, mortgage bills, utilities. We may be able to pay for childcare, especially if you need childcare in order to be able to take some of these classes and do the things that I've described. We can also help with transportation costs, whether that's bus passes or maybe gas cards. A person who chooses to pursue one of these areas, employment, education, or income management, and completes their goal plan will have the opportunity to continue with another goal plan if they like, as long as it fits within that 6-month time frame. It is up to $1,500 for each goal plan. So in order to earn the full $3,000, a participant would need to do something along the lines of maybe pursuing a better paying job or pursuing a job with living wage. And having successfully completed that, then maybe they're thinking about, well, now that I have employment, I really need to learn some better skills for managing that income. So I'm going to do another goal plan and continue to work with the coach in order to maximize this $3,000 in incentives that is available. We do also have, separate from that $3,000, scholarships that are available to help pay for job training. So if somebody has a dream of being a phlebotomist or a CNA, possibly even some things like CDL, construction training, there are a lot of different career pathways that we can help a person. Culinary arts is another one that we do quite frequently. If any of those appeal to you, we can probably offer a scholarship to help you get there. The main thing to know is it does have to be something that can be completed within the 6-month timeframe that this program allows. So I think the last thing that I really need to say is there is some urgency. If you are curious if this is something that sounds like it might be a good fit for you, we do not currently have any guarantees that this program is going to be renewed after June of 2022. So as of right now, there are about 7 months left to sign up for this program in order to participate. We would like to continue this. That may happen, but there are no guarantees. So again, if this is something that interests you, I strongly suggest that you call Bonnie Beeson or Monty Forte and let them know, and we will get you started. And with that, Sarah, I am going to turn it back over to you.
Thank you so much. We do have one question that came through, and that is, are there any programs and or funding that specifically support disabled citizens who are at risk of eviction?
So I'm going to go ahead and try to answer that. And just say that I am not aware of anything that is specifically for disabled people. However, a large number of the programs, either that we've discussed today or other programs that are available through Resilience and Community Services, certainly welcome people with disabilities to participate. That includes the MP Cares program. The limitation there may be that you have to have had fixed income or earned income, which might be a challenge for some people with certain kinds of disabilities. But certainly the programs that Erynn described, people with disabilities are eligible for any and all of those. And like I said, in general, for Resilience and Community Services, we welcome you to apply, or if you're not sure, to give us a call.
Awesome. Erynn, you have anything you want to add to that?
And I'll just say, even if you've been living on a fixed income, you still would, could have been impacted by COVID-19. A lot of people have had increased utilities and food costs and all that. So you would still be eligible to apply for the emergency rent program. There are some other programs that are run by partner organizations, the ministries and things like that, that we might be able to refer people to. So you can still definitely contact Neighborhood Place, and we can try to track down what particular program would work.
Awesome. Thank you. In closing, I want to thank both of you. Thank you, Erynn. Thank you, Travis, for your time with all of us today. For more information on RCS, the programs you learned about today, or our many other programs, our office is open from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. And our main phone number here is 502-574-4377. I know Erynn and Travis provided you a lot of information today and a lot of great flyers and websites. All of that can be found also if you kind of make your way through to our Resilience and Community Services website. So please, again, let us thank Erynn and Travis, and then come and join us next week when we learn a little bit more in depth about LIHEAP, our utility assistance programs, and weatherization. Until then, stay safe and stay well. Thank you all.